common known fact that being stressed can really put a hindrance on your health and fitness goals. And especially during this time of the year, during this season, it does make it a little bit more difficult and challenging to reach some of our health and fitness goals because there's so much going on. There's a lot of chaos. It's really hectic. There's thinking about family, spending time with friends, going to events, going to gatherings. There's a lot that goes on in the month of November and December. But I want you to think of a couple of ways that you could be prepared going into this holiday season. Now, there's a little over 40 days left before the new year. So what are some tips that you can take going into the new year? So first of all, let's talk a little bit about some questions that may come up. Like if you are in those situations where you're going to a lot of gatherings, you're going to a lot of events, holiday parties, office parties, and there's also the times when you're at home and maybe you're very stressed because you do have all of this going on during the holidays. You have people coming to your home. Maybe you're going places, you're trying to cook meals. Maybe there's just a lot going on at this time of the year. You're getting extra treats, you're getting extra cookies, you're having extra cakes that are at your home, and maybe this is a stressful time for you, and that turns into stress eating. And that's very common. I mean, it's common to have stress eating at any time of the year, but especially during the holidays, it can make it a bit worse because there's actually even more access to these treats and goodies that you're not used to. So if you find stress eating becoming a problem, there's a couple of things that you can stop and do. And first of all, I call it the pause, the notice, and the write it down. So when you feel like you're stressed, and maybe one way that you acknowledge your stress is you go to the pantry. And maybe this time of the year you have extra cookies laying around your house. You have neighbors that have dropped off cookies, neighbors that have dropped off breads. You just have access to more sweets and treats during this time of the year. So maybe you do when you get stressed. Maybe it's from emotion. Maybe you're excited and you eat. Maybe you are stressed out from work because it's a busy time of the year and you eat. Maybe you're stressed because there's a lot going on and you're trying to prepare food this Thanksgiving or even this Christmas for a lot of people, and you're stressed, so you eat. And these things you have more, or these food items, the goodies and treats, you have more access to. And you tend to start reaching for them more and more and more and not even thinking about it. So a couple of tips, a couple of things that I like to try is what's called the pause, the notice, and then the write it down. So before you go into the pantry, before you reach your hand into that cookie jar, pause, stop for a minute and think, why am I eating this? Am I physically hungry? Is something coming up for me? Am I nervous? Am I upset? Am I excited about something? And then before you eat it, write it down. Write it down and acknowledge it. Acknowledge why you're eating in that moment. And it could be because you're physically hungry, but it could also be because you're thinking about everything you have to do and you think, I don't have enough time to do it. And then it causes you to get stressed and you end up eating the sweets and the treats. And it's a common occurrence and it's a cycle, and it goes and it goes and it goes. And I don't want you to go into the first of the year having to feel like you have to start all over on your health and fitness journey. So just think about these three things and think before you eat or before you put any of the cookies or the goodies into your mouth, I want you to pause and think, why am I eating? Am I physically hungry? And then write it down. And you can write it down before, and then you can also write it down after, if you did choose to eat it in that moment, how you felt after. Did it help your stress level? Or are you more stressed now because you went in there and you ate more than what you had intended on eating? So there's multiple ways that you can work around when recognizing that you're stress eating. And it all comes back to awareness, which is what I always talk about. But being aware and pausing and noticing, that's the awareness part. That's noticing why you're eating. If you're hungry, if you're coping with something, if you're excited, it doesn't matter what the reason is, but just start to learn your cues and start to learn why you're eating in that moment. I hope you guys have a great and healthy holiday as we head into Thanksgiving.